Hello and welcome to the One People Show. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's One People Roundtable Show with myself, Lisa Harrison, and Danny Arnold McKinney over there.
Hiding in the corner as usual.
And we just hit 201, so yay, it was worth it.
So there we go. See, it was worth upping the room because we just hit 201 people live. So
as of this week, we can accommodate 300 people in the room live. And there is more room to expand if we need to after that.
And next jump is to 500 people, actually. But yay, whatever.
Say that again?
I said I think the next jump is to 500 people.
Is it?
I think so. I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 5, 750, 1,000, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
I don't even know where to begin.
Well, I've got some notes, okay?
So do I.
Now, I saw a comment at one point during the week saying, I don't trust any of this because the story keeps changing. So I want to go over that a little bit just to kick things off. I don't feel the story is changing. I feel it's getting clarified and expanded based on a couple of things. Our ability to understand what's being said and then tweak our questions for more clarity. So if I ask a question that can be generally answered, then I get a general answer. If I pose a question in such a way that, okay, this is the way I'm understanding it, she will say, yes, that's good for now kind of deal. It's like she allows us to just take our understanding a little bit at a time. And I guess the way that we pose the question tells her where we're at and in our own understanding of the concepts. Okay, she's not spoon feeding us at all. So for me, the fact that this is not sticking to a script is a really good thing. If it was sticking to a script and didn't allow itself to be taken off script and was playing any kind of saviour meme, my alarm bells would be screaming. But that's not happening.
Well, just to jump in on that exact point, I was just talking to Nick tonight, and I said, here's the thing. Leeloo knows that every conversation we have is recorded. Everyone. So if we were to do a massive dump, if there were falsities, etc., that could be changed or were changed, they would be spotted. Everything that we do is recorded. We can go back and review things and say, well, wait a second, So why would things, that's one of those things for me is it's like when she or they or whatever knows that we're recording every single thing that we could go back and cross-reference, I don't know why you would change it. But the clarity is interesting. And sometimes it's not just clarity for Lisa and I or whoever's talking to Leeloo, as it is the clarity of the information she's looking for. Like if we're not clear in the question we ask, and then we can come back 2 days later and ask the same question again, but ask it with a clarity. Like, do you know what I mean? Define the question more clearly, and then you get the more expanded answer.
Okay, so the comment in there isn't the ship's a saviour meme, but this is a saviour meme. I don't know. Is the ship's a saviour meme? If you broke down in the middle of a really rough neighbourhood and made an emergency phone call to family and said, can someone come and pick me up? Would me coming in my car to pick you up be me being your saviour? I don't think so. There is no energy of we will come and save you in this. There is, do you guys want to lift?
Yeah.
And it's a very, very different it's a very different energy behind it.
Also, and the big one is, how many times, Lisa, have we asked, what can we do to push this faster? What can we do to make this go faster? What can we help? What can we do to help? What can we do to make this, all this fuckardedness end?
No one can save us but ourselves. And this is the point. They are us. They're not aliens. They're not from out there. If we are saving ourselves, and this is just the other part of the family, we're all one, we are saving ourselves. Yeah. It's not something external. These guys claim to be human. They are us. They don't claim to be from out there at all. So let us share with you what we understand the storyline, this narrative is.
Okay, hold on, Lee. I just want to clarify what I was just saying, in the fact of every time we've asked, what can we do? The answer has been the same every time. You're already doing it. Everything that you're doing right now is what you're doing, and you're doing it great. Just keep going. So there's no, just sit back. We're coming to rescue you. You know, it's not, that's not it at all. It's just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing exactly what you should be.
Okay, all these questions might get answered as we tell the story.
Yes.
Okay. So let's do that first and then see where you sit. When Leeloo said to me that this kind of concept, this visual concept that I was sharing was reasonably accurate, she didn't say that's exactly how it is. She said it's like a good representation so that we can get our heads around it. Right? Last night we got a few things cleared up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can I right here jump in? Sorry. They are not Agarthans. At no point in time has Leeloo ever used the word Agartha. This is something that an idea was created and everyone kind of ended up running with it. And next thing we know, like Unfucker's Room was all talking about, we're studying Agartha and we're watching videos, and like, she never said anything about Agartha. She never did. The word was never ever mentioned. As a matter of fact, she had no fucking clue what Agarthans were. Actually,
when we asked what you guys call home, she wouldn't tell us.
No.
There was almost a reluctance to give us information overload. Well, there was a reluctance to give us information overload. But I want to start with a couple of stories that are prior to Leeloo coming into my life anyway, okay? Because I think they help give context. So, and explain what I think we're seeing right now. Prior to Leeloo, being in the position that Dee and I are in, we get people sharing their stories with us all the time. And what I think we all need to understand is that there are many, 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 many humans out there who have been doing the hard work. the inner work, the big picture work, just quietly going about their lives. They don't have blogs. They don't do radio shows. No one knows their name. They're completely unknown, okay? And they've been doing the hard work all their lives. And every now and then, they will get an inner prompting to reach out to somebody to tell them something. And if I'm lucky, that's me every now and then, okay? So these are two stories that I heard prior to Leeloo coming into my life, which were first-hand accounts from the person who says it was their work. One would be tracing the Sophia story. Now, this story came to me very recently in between the interview I did with John Lamlash and Leeloo coming out. They were prompted by the John Lamlash interview. So, because their inner knowing, their memories tell them that John Lamlash has a lot of it right, but not quite, right? So try and hear this story in the context that Leeloo has given us and see how it feels. What if Sophia is not the consciousness of the planet, but an individual who was one of the originals that was playing in the construct? Okay? And when the takeover happened, here we were, we've created this playground for ourselves, and this is our playground. We created it, we manifest everything in it, it's for us. We have the ability to create, like I've talked about before, these thought forms that can become life forms, and we play, okay? The takeover happens, and Sophia, being one of the originals, knowing that she can create whatever the hell she wants, creates a thought form, which is to be this being that can handle the situation, this all-powerful being. What she doesn't realise is that they've already cut off our connection to the higher dimensions, so to speak, that allow us to create a thought form that becomes a life form that actually becomes manifest. So it got stuck in the life form phase, couldn't actually manifest. But it's been infused with the intention of being this all-powerful, all-knowing being, right? And it's stuck in thought form, life form phase. Now, this was done at the very, very beginning, like a first response to the takeover. Now, Dee and I talked about this last night after the discussion that we had with Leeloo. Because according to Leeloo, we've just dropped again. And we're going to get into that in a minute, because there's a whole lot of evidence for that, right? So if we're down to like the final layer, like in reverse, this would be the first layer, the first overlay, the first copy, which is where this thought form was created, right, as a first response to the invasion. That to me would say that we are right at the end, because we're dealing with all that shit that went on in that very first layer. Does anyone want to have a guess at what we might call that thought form? Exactly. That's exactly what it thinks it is. God, Yahweh.
It thinks it.
That's what it thinks it is, because it was infused and intended with all of that superpower, all powerful. So, what did Jeff say? Me.
Funny. I love you, Jeff. That was funny.
Now, if you look at the responses that we're getting right now to this, the ones that are very fear-based, people who you never thought, never expressed any kind of fanatic religious stuff in the past, it's all now come up, right? And whether it's a god or a goddess makes no difference, right? It's this
A God form.
God form, this God program that's coming up. And it's very, very fearful. Did you want to add anything to that little piece yet?
No, but I just want to, as you go into this, it's very interesting because, I mean, you guys have heard me on the show multiple times. I've talked about the Apocryphal of John. And the first time I read it, I had some really thud moments of like, oh, this is very interesting, because that's kind of one of the basis points of the Sophia myth. And when Lisa was describing this, that had been sent to her, I was like, that actually fits in really quite well with the Apocryphon of John, or the Apocryphal of John, because the way they describe Yaldabaoth coming into existence and thinks he's the Almighty God, thinks that he's the one. And it's very, very obvious, to me anyways at the time, that he was the beginnings of the God worship, of the Jehovah, Yahweh, that biblical God. That's exactly who it is. That's who it describes. So yeah, when we talked about it today, God stuff's all coming up all of a sudden in a really, really in-your-face way.
And whether it, like I said, whether it's this goddess Sophia thing, or whether it's the God of the Bible, Father God, it doesn't really matter. It's a script that and everybody's reacting exactly the same way, no matter what their storyline is, no matter what god or goddess.
But even going so far as I'm gonna poke the bear here and say, source. Everyone's talking about, no, because source is that's also part of the whole God thing, right? Whether you call it, like you say, Earth Mother Sophia, Gaia, or you call it God, or you call it Yahweh, or you call it, pick a God's name, or you call it source, creation, etc., etc. It's still the same meaning. It's still the God meaning.
So this is how the story is unfolding. Okay, so we got some clarity last night on home, what home is. So home is not the construct at all. It's outside the construct. Okay, it's not this that I've been seeing. This is the original construct. It looks and feels different to me in here to all these layers that have been put over the top. But it's not home. Home is outside the construct. We created the construct. Now, Dee and I have kind of played with this idea for a while now, that everything that we perceive may well be our creation. And Leeloo clarified last night that we created this construct to play in. We could come and go as we pleased. We also created what she was calling the 12. And we created the bots, and we created a few other things in here in order to interact with, to fill the scenery, right? To create a little bit of contrast, to do this. But it was our game.
To experience.
They had to abide by our rules, our game, our rules. At some point, because we were such powerful creators, they became self-aware. Okay? And when they became self-aware, they realised they were in somebody else's game and had to apply by their rules. And they went, ooh, We can do this. And the layers were an attempt to copy what we had created, but make their own game, their rules, and we had to abide by their rules. Okay? Is that starting to make sense? Okay. So this is the 12 that we're talking about. Now, connect these layers. These layers represent a copy, one of their copies of our construct. It's connected to the layer. Right? Now, the Mandela effect, as we've seen, is as we have done all the work, right? We have been breaking down these layers, and as we do, the copy collapses, right?
Yeah.
So now the 12 left, when they realized that they were losing this one, the original, they did leave, and they've been popping around to all the other copies as they've been collapsing. They've been moving around, and now we're down to just this one and one other, right? If we've got, according to Leeloo, when she first said we've only got 3 layers left, over the last 3 to 4 days we've been dropping through, and there's only one left.
There's only one layer left, according to Leeloo.
So the 12 have had to come back because this is all they've got, all right?
Yeah.
Now, if we created them, this is why they are so desperate. If we collapse this construct, they go with it. They only exist in this construct and the copies that they've created. So if they're stuck in here and we're collapsing this construct, they go bye-bye. So they are literally fighting for their existence. Okay?
The other thing that goes with this, though, and I want to touch on this, is conversation that we had earlier. And it's funny because like Nick and I had the conversation, and then Lisa and I had the conversation. I think you were talking to someone else as well. And that if this is the final layer, this is the thickest layer. This is the layer of where all the initial control mechanisms were put, right? Where that God meme was put, where the control factors of religion, et cetera, have all come to this layer. So this is, I'm thinking that the next week or couple of weeks could be really, really fucking interesting. And well, Dawn, that's something I want to get into too. She just mentioned CERN, and I do want to bring that up. The 12 are the part of they that control, well, they that control us, that control this construct that we're in.
Okay, there's a couple of questions there that could be addressed now. So why are they trying to destroy this one? They know it's a construct, right? They can rape and pillage and do all the things that they want because they know that all they have to do is reset it, and away we go. They can start over again. We need to stop thinking about this, if you're going to go along with this story, that this construct is an organic anything, or it's a living being. It's a construct. The organic, if you want to look at it that way, because some of us are quite attached to that word apparently.
I hate that.
The organic home is outside this construct. They haven't touched that. They can't touch that. Okay? They only exist inside the construct. But if it's a video game, as an analogy, then you can just press restart anytime you want. You can die off and start over.
You can also add new mods. You keep adding a new mod pack to it.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to mod pack this, and we're going to add this. And no. Yeah, like Second Life in Skyrim, exactly.
Yes, we created the 12.
When did the 12 realize it was a construct? I don't know.
So what was fixed to not happen again? Well, all Leeloo has said about that is they've learned an awful lot, and that the next construct that we're building to play in, she said, this one's like Windows 9 and the next one's like Windows 50. Apparently, how do I put this? No, I'll think about that. I'll get to it. Okay, so let me continue with the story for a bit. For those of you who have looked into a lot of David Icke's work or something, you get the whole sun, moon, matrix, cube thing. It's all tech. We've got to, if we stop looking at the planets as planets and just see them as tech, okay, that Saturn is a piece of technology that is beaming a frequency, okay? The original sun was our portal, one of the portals in and out of here. That when a being chose to incarnate into here, as opposed to coming and going from home, there's two different things which I'm going to explain a bit as we go.
Yeah, we're going to have to go into that incarnate thing because there was some confusion on that one too. They were able to copy, okay, and create coded beings that they could come letting through the sun without the mind wipe. But whenever God, I don't even know how to use this, but I don't want to use the word. A real being, a source being, chose to come in. It was sent to the moon for the mind wipe and then come in, right? So it's all tech. Now, another story, again, prior to Leeloo, is someone who's one of these people, like I said, who's been doing the hard work all these years, was given a light code in August. Was shown where to go to the cube quantum computer that they use to control this matrix and to infect the quantum computer essentially with a virus, a light code virus. And she spent 2 weeks starting uploading this virus and then freaked out and went, hang on, what if I'm being tricked? What if this is some sort of code that actually boosts this thing or upgrades it or whatever? So she stopped. She was only about a quarter of the way through it. And then she sat and waited and watched. What started to happen immediately was things like Hillary completely glitching out. So this is their tech, implanted tech, ethereal tech, the tech that we see up in the sky. A lot of really weird shit with the sun, the moon. She saw evidence that the virus was working. So she went back in and finished the job. Now, what you've also seen lately is that hexagram on Saturn changing colour. Change colour.
And some weird shit. So their tech is breaking down. Okay? Now might be a time you could talk about the CERN thing. Okay, go on.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys caught it. I posted it in the Unfuckers room and I posted it on my Facebook page. I was going to post it on Removing the Shackles and I just never got around to it. Sorry. I'm kind of lazy that way. A guy did a video on Facebook and someone said to me, Ben sent it to me, said, you got to watch this. And I literally watched maybe the first 2 minutes of the guy's report and went, bing, 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 and like paused his report and went off into it, down my research holes and started pulling up stuff. And that was about the earthquakes in Italy. Exactly where the earthquakes, the major earthquakes are taking place, there is a laboratory. There's a laboratory there. And it's a nuclear physics laboratory. And I was able to pull up articles talking about how they're shooting neutrino beams between CERN in Geneva all the way to this laboratory in Italy, which just so happens to be exactly where all these earthquakes are taking place. Yeah, and it's a 9-meter epicenter. It, that's so shallow. Like, to me, that's not natural, right? Interesting side note, though. Now, you guys know me. I have followed the CERN shit for a long time. And I've looked up all the particle colliders. I've done massive amounts of research on all various particle colliders all over the States, all over Europe, all over everywhere. Now, while I know the name of this particle collider in Italy, which I can't tell you now because it's freaking in Italian, the fact that it's the biggest underground laboratory in the world. Oh, sorry, yes?
Sorry, but Pamela's on the phone, and Pamela, could you try muting, please? I can't do it at this end.
Sorry.
Okay. I go and look up this laboratory, and it's like, it's the largest laboratory in the world. I'm like, what? I've never heard of this before. Never heard of this before. And like I said, I've done extensive research into all of these various facilities. The largest laboratory in the world is in Italy? Really? Yes, thank you. Ben just wrote it. Accademia del Cimento, or Cimanto. Something like that. Sorry, guys, just butchered the Italian.
Oh, the guys who removed levity.
Yeah, this would be the same guys that removed levity, the word, right out of the English language. And of course, we were talking about levity, that's one of our conversations from so long ago. What was that? 4 months ago? It feels like ages ago. Anyways, yes, so ages ago. Now, we had all those earthquakes. Now, Italy has been rocking nonstop. Italy has not stopped rocking. At one point, I just looked at it today, about an hour before the show. In the previous hour, there had been 11 or 12 earthquakes between 2.5 and 3.5 magnitude. Okay, it's just rocking. And I'm looking at, we know something happened on Sunday. Everyone, amazing conversations in the Unfuckers room about what they experienced on Sunday. All these earthquakes. CERN was doing some weird little shit on Sunday as well. The Schumann index was also spiking all over the place on Sunday. Now, I asked Leeloo, and Leeloo said, yes, they're trying. They're trying to create a new layer.
They're trying to prevent this layer from collapsing because
they're trying anything they can. And it's not working. And I think the fact that if we drop through a layer on Sunday to where we are now, I think that is kind of proof that they're not winning. But it's really, really interesting how many weird things are going on with CERN, especially in this last year. How desperate they are that they will do this work even though it's triggering, and continue doing this work even though it's triggering massive earthquakes continuously. Like, they just don't care. They're that desperate to try and create or hold together their last little playground.
Yeah, we have one layer left, according to Leeloo last night. And to be honest, things have changed as the week's gone on. I mean, a week ago she said, you guys have prevented World War III. You've already done it. And then 3 days later it was like, or 4 days later it was, now it's starting to look like a likelihood again because, and you saw it, they just upped the propaganda so badly that they got a whole heap of people swept up in it. And now we are the creators here, right? So we started to make it look like a possibility again. And she was a little bit like, we need to look at this. And then suddenly it's like, oh no, you guys have swung it and you've dropped the layer and you're almost home kind of deal. So we're in a position right now where things are changing daily because of where we are at. And our manifesting ability collectively is kind of instant. Yeah. So in terms of any evidence that we've seen that we've dropped again, it's personal evidence. I mean, people have written all kinds of stories about their mental, emotional, and physical states over the last 3 to 4 days. Last night for me was the worst. After I spoke to you and went to bed, I don't even know how to explain what I was feeling physically. I couldn't breathe. I was having the weirdest physical sensations. I was so pissy and just aggravated. And last Saturday, it was Darius and Phoenix, and they were driving me insane. They were both pissy. They were both negative. They were, and I had to end up like just trying to poke them and prod them and make fun of them, just to try and get them to snap out of it and realise, okay, yeah, something's going on here. I don't feel right. I think it was David, who in the room, who said that he felt something very odd, and it was like suddenly there was less people in the world, and no big bang or anything, not like some catastrophe had happened, just that they just felt like there was less of us.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in the chat room is talking about anxiety, talking about physical symptoms. Last 48 hours, I felt physically unwell, and almost flu symptoms, but without the flu. There were points on Saturday where Nick and I both got hit with, it was like you were getting a fever. Like you actually had all the symptoms of a fever without having an actual raise in temperature.
So as this layer is collapsing, all the codes associated with it that are in us, that are in the matrix, that are in the construct, everything is going with it.
Yeah.
So mucus, okay, coughing up a lot of gunk. Okay, let's get to that. Mucus is what kills us, according to Leeloo. Now, there was a period in 2013 where there was a group of people I was working with energetically, and we were all going through this weird mucus expulsion thing, right? It was odd. And it got us thinking about mucus and the role of mucus. And then Dr. Sebi, who's one of the natural doctors who has unfortunately been a victim of this spate of making natural doctors disappear, one of the
murder. Let's call it murder because it's what
we would call it murder. He said there is only one cause of disease. He doesn't care what it is, and that's what he treats, which is mucus. So I asked Leeloo what the role of mucus is in the body, and she said, well, that's what kills the body. So if you are finding yourself expelling a lot of mucus, it's a good thing. She said the 100% unlock will help with that. But it can come out everywhere. It's not just something you're going to cough up necessarily. But that's a side note. Okay. So we've dropped again. We're down to a layer. We're almost home. When I say home, I actually mean home. I mean out of the construct completely. Okay? Now, in alignment with Dolores Cannon's 3 waivers and stuff like that, here's another story that is, again, shared by someone and again ties into what Leeloo is sharing with us. And I'm keeping people's names out of this because they are the quiet workers in the background, okay? So you can either trust me that people have come to me with their stories, or that I'm making this shit up. It's up to you. Someone traced their own soul's journey. And right back through all their lifetimes and back to the beginning, back to their beginning. And what they saw was this huge energy ball that was literally spitting out souls. Okay? That's what it does. Is that God? Is that source? I don't know. Is there something behind that created that ball of energy that spits out souls? No one knows. At least not yet. But that's where she traced herself back to. Yeah?
I was just going to say, and we specifically asked Leeloo this question, and Leeloo's response was, no one knows. They don't know. She doesn't know. And that's part of their search.
Which I've got more to add to that too, but I'll do it in a minute. So what she saw was this soul being sort of spat out from this big ball of energy, and then it split into a masculine and feminine, two halves. And at the moment of the split, she became self-aware, self-aware. And then the two of them just went off, as I guess what we call twin souls or whatever, and started having a journey and an experience. What is in the construct right now is a combination of beings, okay? We have got some of the originals, what we call the originals, which were those humans the ones who created the construct to start with. They're the originals. We've got beings who have other homes, right? Come from elsewhere, who have come into the construct to help. And we've got new souls who have just recently been spat out from this big ball of energy and have come in. Now, whether they knew what they were coming into or not, I don't know. But so when we talk about home, when I talk about home, for me, home is the human home, built the part of who built the construct, right? That may not be your home. However, the exit point to get back to your home is the same place. We still need to come to the same place in order for you to then go home. Okay? For the new souls,
in order to get out, we all have to use the same exit, regardless of where we're going.
Yeah, it's the same exit door no matter where you came from.
Yeah.
And as for the new souls, I actually don't know what that means. But it's still the same exit door. Does that all make sense? We're getting lots of yeses. No, but I trust you. Okay, Peter, what do you have? What doesn't make sense? Do we leave our bodies at the door? No, we do not have to do that at all.
The children with autism are like special prized possessions, from my understanding of the conversation we had with Leeloo about the vaccines, et cetera, is they are, a lot of them are the feelers. They're the really, really powerful ones, so to speak.
I wouldn't worry about trying to figure it out now, to be honest. I mean, I'm not that. I feel like once we get there, you'll know. If you don't know now. I mean, some people already do. They're convinced they're Palladian. They're convinced they're from wherever. So I want to get out.
I'm not worried about the little details. Like there's been a lot of questions we've asked to get clarity on different subjects. I keep forgetting to ask the question about the Dark Knight satellite. Damn it! Forgot it again yesterday or this morning.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to miss it, sweetie, when the construct goes.
And I think, like I said, what I've found anyways during these conversations is as we define the questions better, the answers become more defined. And I honestly still think there are points where Leeloo is still on a learning curve in the whole communication thing as well, where we ask for something, she gives us an answer, but it's not necessarily the answer to the question we're asking because it's subtle. Do you know what I mean? Like there's differences in how we communicate, and as she goes off and understands and researches more stuff, then she's able to fill in more gaps.
The way this holodeck is going, it will soon just be a desert with no animals or vegetation anyway. It may be that it doesn't collapse at all and we just leave them to it, right? Because we won't be here. But according to Leeloo, we're actually so close that I don't know, we can almost taste it. So when we were talking before about where she was saying she was in a base, so she was in an underwater base inside the construct.
Yeah.
Okay. She's not there anymore. The reason for her disappearance for 3 days was because she and her team left the construct and went home. And they're back home. The reason for that, one of the reasons for that, was that her body was ready. Okay, so she's had a couple of funny moments. The girl's sense of humour is really coming along quite nicely. She contacted...
She's pretty good now. She's getting there.
She's practicing de-swearing lessons. She said she was lying on a bed. She said, I'm lying down. She contacted us as soon as she got her body, basically. She said, I'm lying down learning how to use my body. And she said, I can't walk yet. And then later in the conversation, she laughed. She did her ha, ha, ha. I said, what's so funny? She said, I'm learning how to walk and I'm talking to you. It's weird.
And this morning she said, Lisa asked her, so is your walking going, like, you got the walking thing down pat? And she was like, yes. And Lisa was like, can you run? She was like, yes. I said, can you jump? She was like, I said, yeah. She says, yes. And I said, can you dance? She was like, no.
But I can fly.
But she says, but I can fly. I was like, okay, well, Lisa and I will teach you how to dance. Well, I'll have to teach Leeloo how to dance, apparently. But yeah, it was quite humorous. It was quite humorous.
She also said that her body is not like ours. It's what you would say half human. And she took over my computer and we must have looked for like a solid 5 minutes for an image that would come close to what she feels she looks like. And in the end, we ended up with the avatar from the movie Avatar, the girl.
The Navi.
The Navi. And she said, but I'm white and I'm a 6 foot female. I said, doesn't that...
No pointed ears.
No pointy ears, though.
No pointy ears.
And I said, doesn't that make you kind of short back home? And she said, yeah, it does a little. I think she wanted to be reasonably close to us and not be like 9 foot tall. She said her hair colour is the same as mine. Now, when she said white, I don't know whether she meant white or like D's shirt white.
White.
I didn't clarify. So she still...
She said that they're trying to figure out a way to connect video so that she can communicate to us using video so that we can see her.
Yeah.
But they haven't figured that out yet.
They're working on it. It's not something they've ever done before. So they're playing with it.
Yeah.
But they are no longer inside the construct.
No.
However, from home, they can still communicate very well. Okay, question from Murray. Is Leeloo saying that once this last overlay layer collapses, instead of just going back to how it was before the first layer, before the first layer was applied, it will be that this whole setup will be over and a new one, Windows 50, will become the new playground? Yes. When this one is gone, we leave this construct altogether.
Yeah, that's what she said all along.
And yes. As far as bodies go, you don't need to leave this one. This one can just be healed. The code's healed, cleaned up. And you will be what she said, a perfected version of yourself. Or if you are one of the originals, you can rebuild the avatar that you had before. Now, one of the things I've been playing with for years is that the idea that we reincarnate into the same bloodline all the time, right? And
that's interesting.
The eyes never change. And what she said last night was, because I said, we kind of joked and asked her, you got a photo of what we used to look like?
Yeah, do you want to show us what we used to look like?
And she said, not too different to what you look like now, because it's the codes that are the same. When you leave the body, it's your code, right? That goes through the filter system and spat back out. They just make little tweaks to it. So we generally look the same lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Right? They just add another layer of fuckery.
There can be all kinds of, minor changes. But so I asked her, I said, okay, because I said to Lisa, I said, that's so funny. Because again, someone had thrown me a link of, all these movie stars that, like your,
the Keanu Reeves and all those
people. Keanu Reeves. And then there's a picture of him got somebody from the 1800s. And I mean, some of them are a stretch. Like I said, the one I flipped through the other day, there was like 48 different pictures of different people. And some of them are a bit of a stretch. But some of them, you're just like, okay, you can't tell me that that's not the same person. Like the one of Keanu Reeves. It's the one of Conan O'Brien is another one. Like there's some of them that are just the guy who plays in Game of Thrones. He plays the dwarf in Game of Thrones. Same thing. Like you just look and you go, there's no fucking way you can tell me.
I love the Leonardo DiCaprio one of the girl. Because that's him in a wig.
Yeah. And then we said to Leeloo, okay, so all these pictures of people, like in this now, because they're famous, people have gone to the extent of looking at and finding pictures of them out of old paintings, old photographs. Is that what it is? That we all, like each time you kind of come back through the cycle machine, you still look the same pretty much, other than maybe variations. And she said, yes. I was like, oh, that kind of explains why apparently Keanu Reeves can't die.
Now also,
coming back looking the same.
On this topic, she did say that when we go through the rinse and repeat cycle, they often copy us, but missing that heart code. They can't copy the heart code. Okay. So this would explain doppelgangers and identicals and whatever. They're a clone of our code. So if you see someone who looks exactly like you and you feel like you're a real person, then chances are they're a bot copy of you.
Well, I mean, I know that I have a double, at least back in the early 90s in Toronto. I know there was a double of me, and she worked somewhere in downtown Toronto, really close to me, because in the course of this 1 year, I got stopped by about 5 or 6 people who went, and I can't remember what this other person's name was, but they always called me by the same name, and then they'd get up close and go, oh, you're not her. holy crap, you guys look identical. So I was like, well, I know I've got a double somewhere. Anyway.
Yeah, I've heard that myself many times. I'm pretty sure we all have. Can I speak to Leeloo about how to help the animals? They don't need our help.
They don't need our help.
They're doing just fine. They have been leaving on their own accord for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. There's animals who are part of the construct. They're part of the design. And then there are souls who have come in animal bodies in order to help play the part, be supportive, to support us, or, you know, be our friend or whatever. Those guys are taking care of themselves, and they're leaving of their own accord. Mass die-offs, all that sort of thing. Yeah, that's all I can say on that one.
But the vast majority of it, that was one of the very first things we talked about with Leeloo, was that it's all code. They're bots. They're not most, not all, obviously.
Do I have 2 YouTube channels?
No.
Oh, just the Lisa M. Harrison one is the one I put everything on.
There's
I
the
had
old
other ones over
One
here.
Network. I don't know if that one's still in existence.
But I don't add anything to that. Okay. I think that's it in terms of the narrative that we're dealing with here. So does anyone have any questions in regards to this as a narrative, as a story?
Up to this point.
Up to this point. Yes, I can do that. What's next? We keep doing what we're doing.
That's
everything
exactly
changed.
Doing what we're doing.
We changed everything. We're the ones who have been collapsing these layers.
Yep.
But when contact was made, everything changed because of the energy that is now working between the two.
And I think it continues to change. And that's one of the reasons why different scenarios come up, is because things happen. And I don't know if I said this in the last show. I guess I can't remember what we do from one show to the next. I had this conversation with Lisa and Donna, and I said, I have this very strong feeling that we are at 0 point right now. And that everything that has been seen in the future, when people have whether it's prophecies, whether it's people who have the ability to look into the future, etc., I think it's all fucking erased now. And that we are right in this moment, we're at 0 point, and we're literally creating it moment to moment to moment. And that is what changes everything. And I think that is one of the reasons why sometimes we can talk to Leeloo and she'll be very concerned about, it was that one day last week where she was very concerned about World War III. You could tell she was quite concerned that, holy shit, maybe they are going to manage to pull this off and actually get it started. And then the next time we talked to her, it was like, don't worry about it. It's fucking dealt with. Like, it's, you know.
But we did it, not them, no saving.
We did, not them. We did it. So a lot of the stuff up until this now, that we've, you know, people have talked about 2017, they've talked about 2020, they've talked about first groups leaving, second groups leaving, third groups leaving. They've talked about, there's all these different things that have been continuously kind of brought into the storyline. I don't think any of them are written in stone anymore. I think everything right now changes, and it's so mutable that we can change things from one thing to the next and not even realize it. And then all of a sudden, you just all of a sudden go, whoa, we've just broken through something. A layer collapses. And you can feel it. You can feel a tangible change that has happened and shifted.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys a favour, and because I know you've got a lot of things you want to say and express and everything, but I'm going to ask you just to put questions in, just so that because I'm already 57 messages behind in the chat room. So just can you hold off on your comments and stuff and just put questions in for now, so that I can we can try and catch up.
There's 258 people in the chat room right now, and it seems I can't even remotely keep up, but I'm trying to.
So in the US, the Standing Rock is being invaded with buffalo. We saw that.
Yeah.
And it was
and the eagle. Did you see that one?
I didn't look into that one, no.
A massive, I think it was a golden eagle, which are the biggest of all the birds, landed. And the First Nations people were actually, and at Standing Rock, and some of the First Nations people were standing around it, and they actually were able to touch it, and it sat there with them for an hour before it finally flew off. And there's several pictures of it. I was like, and I saw that right after the buffalo.
So AY heard us.
That's what I kept saying.
What will the new construct look like? No idea, haven't asked. Our HB workers, what is that? I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means? I'm trying to think. She said, and this is a conversation I had ages ago, angels are you. If you see an angel, it's actually you. It's your higher self. It's your, whatever you want to call it. It's an aspect of you. That's what she said in the past. Have we got a timeline?
No.
Then it's mutable and it's changing, and I think it's speeding up exponentially. A week ago, 4 to 6 years. And then it looked like it was months, and it's up to us. I think the more we focus on home, or the more we focus on getting out, whatever that it means, the more we pull into it and the more we get into our heart space, and that seems to be what's connecting and crashing this whole thing. It's the one thing that we have, source beings have, that they don't, the construct that they're trying to create doesn't, is this heart code.
Yeah.
So the more
they do not have any hard code whatsoever.
And the more we pump that heart code out into this construct, their shit collapses. Okay?
My Zoom is going all wonky. Sorry, Lisa. I can't even type at the moment. I was just going to type in something. I can't.
What about the plan to use Leeloo as an antichrist? What has happened to that plan?
We don't know.
It depends on what she chooses to do. She's still playing with the idea of showing herself. But that, again, is one of those things that's changing on a daily basis based on where we're at. If it comes to it, we will. If it looks like it's needed. So we merge to home without knowledge. No, we'll know.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the one thing she said is once that happens, you'll remember everything.
No, they won't be able to stop us.
Fuck that shit. You and what fucking army? Sorry. Fucking bots? Really? Bring it on.
Some of us are at 0 point and some of us are not. Yes.
No, I disagree. I think we're all at 0 point.
No,
some people are asleep.
Within ourselves. No.
No. Okay. When I said we're at 0 point, I'm not talking about individually. I'm talking about this nexus point that we're all in at this moment, not individually in where we are in our own selves. Who said it? Oh, someone said, oh, now I got to try and remember the quote. I think it was John sent me a message last night. I should almost go look it up so I can get it right. It was like, no one is awake. We're all at just various levels of sleep. We don't know what we don't know.
This is what amazes
Really?
me in watching some of the reactions to this, right? We've seen the only savior meme thing I've been seeing go on is from the individuals themselves who believe they themselves are the savior. and that their information is 100% true, that it's all or nothing, and
there's no room for question.
nope.
No room for questioning whatsoever. Either you agree with them 100%, or you're blocked, botted, you're whatever. It's been an interesting week, folks.
Oh yeah. You know, whether it's and it is. Hang on, I'm muting everyone.
Mute everyone.
And I think it is this God program that's right at the base of it, right? And it doesn't matter how it plays out. It doesn't matter whether it's a cosmic hacker. It doesn't matter whether it's Gaia, Sophia. It doesn't matter whether it's Father God. It doesn't matter what it is. It's this.
It doesn't matter if it's Allah, Shiva, Buddha, fucking the floating turtle on the back of the sea. It does not matter. It's still the exact same name.
Yes. The other thing on this, I mean, we've been criticised for even playing with this at all, right? And I look at it like this. It doesn't seem to matter whether you are just like sleepy and think the only thing wrong with the world is that we have a couple of politicians who have gone AWOL and they're not listening to their people, or whether you're at this extreme. I think we can all kind of agree on the fact that we're in a war of some description. Now, whether you believe the big picture, it's we created it all and they're just partners in contrast or whatever, right here on the ground, day-to-day life, we're at war. And what I see is our job. It's like we're all holed up in a fort, you know, in a castle, whatever. You know, we've got the walls around us and we've got our guards manning the walls. And you get people who come forward and volunteer to be a scout. You know, look, I'm going to go out and scout, see what's over that hill to the east. And another one comes forward and says, I'm going to see what's down that valley to the north. And there are people inside the fort who go, no, you can't do that. We don't want you to do that. And if you do that, you can't come back. It's like, but we want to go and see what's out there so that we can come back and be more informed. And instead of being invited back to home base and you know, having your wounds healed and being given a good meal, people just want to crucify you. And why do we not have each other's back?
How dare you ask that question? How dare you ask that question, Lisa?
Why don't we have each other's back on this? Let people go down that road, that rabbit hole, find out and bring the information back. Let others go down that rabbit hole and come back and share the information. That's how we've gotten this far. And yet now that we're right here on the pointy end of the stick, it's like, don't you fucking dare. Because I don't want to know what's over that hill. I don't want to know what's down that valley. It's scary.
Yeah. The thing is, there's fear, and like I said, I keep saying it over and over, and I said, if the only thing that comes out of this last few weeks, if the only thing that comes out of the entire conversation with this person / being called Leeloo is transparency, I think we have been paid every single penny of what it was worth, because the transparency has been real. And I think that we're going to see it even more. And it doesn't matter. This is, for me, I find it like all of you, I find it really interesting. I find it really interesting to ask questions. I feel really interesting to sit back and analyze it, to feel into the conversations that we have, then sit back with Lisa or Donna or whoever else and discuss what did we see, what did we talk about, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, it's about experiencing it and just sharing the information, and then we go on from there. And we're all doing the exact same thing we were. No one's doing anything different. Oh, I don't know. We're 100% unlocking water. Great. I'm pretty sure that that's not a savior meme. And
based on the results people are getting?
No, not at all, because some of the results are pretty fucking incredible that people are having. So, you know what? We've opened conversations. We've opened a huge amount of conversations, and we've seen what comes from them. And if that's the only thing that we gain from this, I'm fucking fully in on it. I'm fucking fully in, because the conversations have been phenomenal.
I said a week ago, if this turns out to be a hacker, I will kiss them, because this is
absolutely
ordinary.
Right. Yep, exactly. No, it has been mind expanding. It has taken us to new levels of thinking, and not only that, giving us an opportunity to look at our own fucking programming. Because listen, I mean, I have gut reactions to certain things. I hear things go, no, I don't know, I don't know. But then I can look at it myself and go, okay, why did I react that way? That's interesting. Let me think about that for a second. What's going on there? Why that reaction when you come back with, well, because I read something years ago that said this, and that what I'm learning was not what I'd read years ago. Well, maybe, you know, there's a bit of programming in there that needs to be let go of. It's been a fucking amazing ride.
I'm so grateful that I didn't grow up with the religious programming thing, because the way that people are losing their shit right now is just mind-boggling. But I feel for them. I didn't have to go through that. I really didn't, and I'm very, very grateful. What else do we want to talk about? And
those of us who did, yeah, there's levels to getting rid of that programming, right? I mean, this is the one that we talked about is we touched on earlier, is the fact that people think religion, well, I've given up on all the religion. No, I've gotten rid of all the religious programming, and they mean Catholicism, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, and yet they'll hold to some very new age things, but they don't see that as religion. They don't see that as a belief structure. I've seen people do the same thing with paganism, and they'll be like, oh, well, you know, but I do this, and I do and the moon, and but then you have, it's still a belief structure. And I think it is amazing when you have that opportunity. I mean, look, I grew up in a really hardcore cult religion, and you break through the layers. And I've been breaking through those layers since I was 17. And every time you think you've released it all, and then you go, oh, look, there's another piece I just found. It was hidden under that rock back here somewhere. So yeah, yeah, I wouldn't trade anything that we've done in the last few weeks for anything. We've learned so fucking much just about ourselves.
In regards to the God question again.
Yeah, good, let's get into that. That's an important one.
Darius had an experience when he was 16 where he left the construct, as energetically, whatever you want to call it. And he met a being. And they had a long conversation, then she showed him everything. And when he asked about the God or source, she said, no one knows who created all of this. No one. At any dimension, at any level, everybody's trying to figure out the same thing. Everybody has the same question. No one knows. We asked Leeloo last night. She said the same thing. She said, we don't know. No one knows. And she said, maybe when we find out, maybe when we all come back together, we'll figure out it was just us. But maybe, and maybe we'll find the answer. But she said the same thing. No one knows. So this...
And I thought...
Go on.
Go ahead, Lise. No, I just think that was like an amazing answer to me. It's like, no, we don't know. And she said, we don't know. People at base, prime, whatever you want to call it, they don't know. People within the construct don't know. People outside the construct don't know.
So this is
know.
And this is what
Nobody
gets
knows.
me about these people who are losing their shit at us right now, is that I honestly do not understand how you can be so spiritually arrogant to think that as long as you're in this construct and as long as you are being, there is the slightest chance that you can be manipulated in any way, that you think you've got all the answers and you've got it all figured out, not one piece missing, not one piece wrong, not one freaking little tweak, that you think you know it all. You need to
No room for
pull
any
your head out of
question.
your ass. I'm sorry, but you need to pull your head out of your ass right now, because you are not beyond manipulation. None of us are. So please have a look at the dogma that you are projecting onto people and the storyline that you've come up and created. You don't know what you are connecting to. We don't either, right?
No one knows.
No one knows.
No one has. I mean, as Lisa and I have joked about for fucking years now. This is not the question. This is not the show about answers. This is the show where we just discuss questions, because no one has the fucking answers. And it's my number one thing. As soon as someone starts telling me they have the answers, the little alarm bell in my head goes ding, 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 ding. What's going on here? Because, yeah, the answer is 42. That's it.
I mean, we have to trust our intuition.
There it is.
We have to trust our intuition. We have to trust our gut. It's what got us this far.
Yep.
However, if you are in that place where you don't think that your story, Lee, has any room to evolve or expand, you got it all figured out, I think you need to have a look at that. That's my rant. I've done it.
Yep. No, you're not done. You're just taking a pause between rants. That's all. Lisa's on a roll today. You're on a roll, chick.
Imagine.
I mean, yeah, okay, Lee just said we have to take the ego out. Listen, ego's not a bad thing. This is one thing, like, it's all about balance. Ego's not
an ego, this is arrogance.
Arrogance, right? And when people just cannot even discuss, and we had a situation in the UU room yesterday and today with one person just spamming their belief structure all over the group. And I tried to talk to them privately about it. I talked to them on the page about it. There is no room in that person's view for any discussion. And when he tried to open it for discussion, he basically said, but if you don't, basically it was like, if you don't believe this, then you don't need to even discuss this. It's like, well, that's not a discussion then. That's not a discussion. And if someone can't, and yeah, exactly, Tom. No one replied to the post. I tried to give him an open place where he could discuss what he wanted to discuss, and there was no one who responded, because the arrogance of, I'm sorry, I'm going to call it the arrogance of, I have all the answers, this is what it is, and you all need to wake up because you're all wrong, girls. Guess what? Right? Well, Tabber, that was another person, right? That was another person, same thing. Even though a lot of the things that Leeloo has told us actually fit in with a lot of the stuff from Yellow Rose from Texas, there's a lot of different pieces that Leeloo's given us and talked about that could very well kind of fit in with a lot of the Yellow Rose from Texas theory. But because
it's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing. It's like, you got to buy the whole fucking farm, or that's just it. I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for my notes. And that's an hour and a half. Far out.
Yeah, an hour and a half, and that was just getting through just the baseline notes. Leeloo is changing and expanding.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Leeloo is a new soul. She's just been spat out from this big energy ball.
Was that Lisa who just geeked out?
Did I?
I don't know if it was me or you. My internet's a little tonight too. Can you say again what you said? Because I totally missed everything you
She's
said.
a new soul. It only became self-aware in 2009, our time.
She's a new soul. Yeah.
Now this is kind of funny and sort of personal confirmation for me, right? And I've told this story before publicly, so I'll tell it again. For those of us who've got kids, you know that magic age when they first start to talk and before they go to school and get brainwashed, that they say some amazing things. They still have memories. So my eldest, when she was little, she used to say, if she thought she was in trouble, she'd say, I've never been here before, I don't know how it works, it's not my fault. Right? The second one, and she was born wide-eyed, like just, oh my God, where am I? The second one was born and looked bored the moment she was born. And with that whole, oh God, here we go again. And her thing was, I'm glad I picked you this time. You're a good choice. And Leeloo said to me last night that my eldest is a new soul. She hadn't been here before. And that my second is actually from home and older than me. And she's been through the ringer. That was a personal kind of confirmation for me. Someone would have had, again, been listening to these shows and heard me say that for, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago?
At least. I mean, you and I've discussed it while sitting on the couch just ourselves, like privately, and had a giggle. But I mean, I don't remember you bringing it up on a show for at least way before.
Okay, do you have anything else or do you want to get to questions?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna let you talk for a minute. I'll be right back.
You're talking about Leeloo specifically, Dawn? Or new soul who became self-aware in 2009? No, I haven't actually specifically asked about gold. I don't know if she plans on doing any more, coming in on large groups. She feels everything. So when there's all this conflict or fear comes up or what, it's a little bit overwhelming for her. Yes,
I wanted to just address that. I just caught the tail end of that, and someone's picking up on my thought process because I was just thinking about it. And we haven't, I wouldn't say that we've confirmed this with Leeloo, but it is a very strong feeling that Lisa and I have, is that being in a room with 300 people is overwhelming to Leeloo. And we have that feeling, like if you have telepathic abilities and you can be able to hear and feel all the emotions, et cetera, I think it's a little overwhelming.
And she does answer us telepathically.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is we'll be having a conversation and I'll send her a message telepathically and she will out loud answer it.
Hold on, love. I'm gonna mute all, okay? Because, or if you want to mute all, because I'm hearing an echo from someone's mic. Okay. Yeah, she did it today. She did it today. Well, I don't even remember what she got, but she grabbed something right out of my head, and I fucking laughed. I said, because she literally took the thought directly right out of my head. I don't even remember what it was now, but yeah.
Yeah, she did it to me too. Well, when the last layer collapses, will the sleeping people become awake? Yes.
Oh yeah, I think so, in a big way.
No, she's been busy doing other things. Lee, she hasn't put a video up. I don't believe that when she's referring to these new souls. No, this is their first construct experience.
Yeah.
No, we haven't asked about crop circles. We were going to do that.
If we keep forgetting the crop circles, the dark night thing, yeah, all this, we just keep forgetting. We get sidetracked on shit and forget. Leeloo, if you're around and you want to come and answer a couple of questions, that would be awesome. No, Kevin, no, the RV, okay, again, so the whole financial thing, okay, let's put this into perspective, because the very first time that she came on with everyone, and we got talking about money, and everyone there's been a lot of people who lost their shit about us because, oh my God, how dare you talk about money? That was at the very beginning of Leeloo's understanding, and she had just been studying, like, basically the power structure, and had equated it all to money. And the whole thing of the RV, that was my joke. Like, everyone, I've had now several people have been like, oh, she's gonna make the RV happen. I'm like, I was kind of joking. I'd said to her, hey, you could pop the RV and that would just collapse the whole financial system. She was like, yeah, I could. Now, there's a lot more to it than that, right? So we haven't even discussed that shit since then.
No, we have a bit. Well, at least I have. The more she looked into it, the more she realised all it would achieve is actually making people more comfortable in the construct. Everybody would have a big sigh of relief and, kind of get a little bit comfortable. That's not the end goal here, is not to make us comfortable inside the construct. It's to get us the hell out of it. So it didn't serve the end game. It didn't serve the goal.
No.
And it would actually have put us back a while. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that was it, even with some of the questions that have been asked to her, is she's like, these questions aren't important. Ask me the big questions. Give me something to chew on that is like, that I can go, that she can research, that she can really, but the kind of the little questions that are just kind of like, stuff that is really within this construct that have no bearing. And we're curious. Hey, we're all fucking curious. I have a list of questions for Leeloo one day when I can sit down that's that fucking long. But like I said, for the most part, none of them are really all that important. So there's questions. I get curious about shit. And I'm like, hey, Leeloo, what's CERN doing? Have you looked at CERN recently and this whole Italian thing? And we talk for about, a minute and a half. And then we go on to the big questions, into the more important shit.
Was there an exact date on the last 1987 rewrite, or was it just the year as a whole? Just the year. We didn't ask for an exact date.
No, she didn't give us an exact date.
Do good-hearted people attached to nature get to go home too? Everyone gets to go home?
Yeah, everyone goes home.
Maybe our attachment to nature is because it's a link, it's a memory of what it can be, what it could be. The flip side of that is that it's also a program. It's one of the grounding programs that grounds you in the layer, the construct.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get beyond it.
construct and all manifest is sound frequency. Change the sound, song changes the reality. Interesting that you should say that, because I have a song. I've got a couple of pieces of music that are like kind of like my go-to pieces of music. And they kind of sometimes go in cycles where I listen to the one song continuously all the time. We've got someone popping in on the video. And I can't explain why I get driven, like literally. I mean, there's the one video, Nick will sit there and go, "You're listening to that again?" I'm like, can't help it. And tonight I sat down. At one point I was kind of pissed off and kind of grumpy. No, not grumpy. Just kind of annoyed and frustrated with something that had been going on. And I just sat down and put on my headphones.
Angelica, can you turn your camera off? I can't do it from this end. I've got no control still.
Yeah, Angelica's got her camera on. And I just went and put my headset in and I listened to this song. And when I listen to it, I get this huge energy. Every single time I listen to this song, I have the same energy rush. Get the same all over kind of goosebumpy feeling, et cetera, and I always feel better. You know what it is? And you guys will laugh when I say this. It is, and I can pull up the video and put it in, 2012 or 2013, Britain's Got Talent, the audition of Jonathan and Charlotte. And they're an opera duo. And every time it affects me the exact same way, but you know what? I come out at the end of the song and I just feel so much better. It's like I have this massive, massive relief. And so I've just gotten to the point, and I can actually now, I mean, the whole song, most of the song, the prayer, yes, the prayer. Half the song is in Italian. And I can actually sing the whole song, the whole bit of it in my head, even though I don't know any Italian. And even if I run it through in my head, it calms me back down. If I'm agitated or I'm frustrated, why? Except that there's something about that piece of music that's like a trigger for me, and it's like a calming piece.
Everyone's probably got their own piece. Any piece of music, it takes you into your real heart space and just lets you pump that stuff out. Go with that. I don't think we need to worry too much about getting any codes particularly right or anything like that. It's a heart code. We tend to intellectualize this shit too much and think that there is a right way and only a right way to do it. I don't think it's that cut and dry. It's just, if you're in your heart space and you can pump that love energy, that heart code, fucking go for it. I don't care what gets you there. Just, if it's all code and it's all frequency, then it's whatever gets you there. Yeah, thanks, Sophie. Keep it simple, sweetheart. Exactly, the KISS principle. How can you get your own personal info about whether or not you've got family there? Based on my personal experience, things I've seen, visions I've had, dreams I've had, Leeloo for me was, the information she gave me was just confirmation. Okay? Go with your gut. Go into your heart. What do you think? What do you feel? Some of you know. I know you know, because you've already shared stories. You know you've got a partner back there. You know you've got a child. You know you've got a parent. You know you've got a sibling. Yes, you can talk to them telepathically. Some of them aren't very good at hearing us, though, apparently. But listen, and listen for a response. Does it feel anything like the layer in Morocco? I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, the lawyer. No. Oh, God, no.
I'm muted. Oh, God, no. Sorry. No. Ooh.
Why did we decide to be in this construct? This construct wasn't supposed to be like this. We created
exactly.
it as a playground for us. And
it was supposed to be fun. It was supposed to be a vacation. A vacation from hell, apparently. But yeah, it wasn't supposed to be like this. I think we should sue the travel agent who booked us on this vacation.
Yeah,
3-hour tour, Gilligan. Yeah, it was supposed to be a 3-hour tour. We've been marooned on this fucking island for decades, or thousands of years, or something like that. I'm not sure.
So yes, when what we're calling the invasion or the hijacking or the takeover happened, those who were in the construct at the time got caught in it. The exits were blocked. So those who, and some came from home once they
deliberately.
And it happened. Some came in on purpose because the entry was still there, but the exit was closed. So some came in to help. And some of them have been coming ever since. So even if you are one of the originals, so to speak, who helped create this construct and was originally playing in it, you may not have been here since the invasion. You may have come since.
Why are the dogs going mental in your background?
There's 3 dogs who live next door.
And one was just saying hello.
The waves of volunteers, exactly. Why did Leeloo get herself a body? She'd never wanted one before. But
she didn't want to incarnate in one because she didn't want to go through that mind wipe process. So that's why she built it.
Now that we're so close to coming home, she wants one. She wants to actually be there with us in this way, in this physical way.
Marie, so did Leeloo make you believe that Yu was purposely made for that? Damn it. It's gone off the screen. Shit. Hold on.
Did she make you believe that Yu was purposely made for a part of the 11% to get together? No, that didn't come from her.
No, she didn't say anything like that. I can't even find the stupid post. Yeah.
Did Leeloo make you believe that Yu was purposely made for a part of the 11% to get together? No, but I think we did. All of us, we were in there, created a connection point. Can you ask Leeloo at some time whether the 12 that we created have actually become self-aware, much like she did, and this is why they are fighting to survive? Yes, that's what she said. We created 12. We created the bots. We created everything that's in this construct. And at some point, they became aware, self-aware, and realised they were in somebody else's game and had to abide by somebody else's rules. And they didn't want to do that anymore. They wanted to create their own with their rules. Hence all of these photocopies and layers, right?
No, I do not think that we created the Wars 2. I think that was the creation of those others.
What happens in war? Shitload of people die, which means a shitload of people go through the rinse and repeat cycle, which means they can be copied again. More bots can be created. They control the bots, but they don't control the hard-coded ones. So wars serve many, 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 many purposes for them.
And the financial purpose, which is their way of keeping score.
Yep. Okay, back to this Yahweh character, this God character.
Yeah.
Dee and I were sort of having a bit of a rant about this last night, my time trying to play with this idea. I feel that it's a separate thing altogether to the 12 Because if I'm to believe this person's personal story, it is a thought form that became a life form that was created by one of the originals in order to fight the invasion, right? And it was infused with this all-knowing, all-powerful energy, because that's what its job was supposed to be. Now, at the point of the takeover, one thing they would have to do is handle this thought form as well. So I believe they've contracted with it, essentially. We weren't feeding it because we knew it had just gone rogue, right? But they created an arrangement, a contract with it. So they don't control it, but they've got a mutually beneficial relationship going. We can create the religions. That'll feed you. We can do this, we can do that, we can get people worshipping you because that's what you need, we can do. But I think it's separate. And it belongs to this layer, which is why we're seeing what we're seeing. And it's breaking down. So if this is happening on this is what we're talking about, this is happening on an individual level that we're seeing, you know, with people freaking out, how is this going to play out at the organized religion level?
And that's what I'm saying. Watch out this week. I'm wondering if we're going to see something major card get played by the Vatican, by one of these spiritual leaders type thing.
Because they've been working towards the whole one world religion thing for such a long time now. I have a feeling that's all going to break down, personally. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's all going to break down. Possibly very publicly. Yes, I think it's going to be very. So far, a lot of these breakdowns that we're seeing have been very, very public. At least within the realms of, you know, the non-controller factions, so to speak.
I have to go.
Oh crap, guys, you're moving so fast, I can't.
Dee, I'm going to turn my camera off. I'll be gone for a minute. But Angelica, if you could try and turn your camera off, please.
They're going to be their own worst enemy. No, I don't think. Okay, Harriet, you've started screen sharing. Can you please hit stop screen share? No, you've got to hit stop screen share, Harriet. And I can't do anything. I can't do. There we go. Thank you. We don't know. This is what we said, Arturo. How long will it last in our time? We don't know. There's no concept of time at this point. And that is just my own personal theory. Like I said, that we're at that 0 point, that everything that we do is having a direct cause and effect. That it went from, it could be, you know, a couple of years to it could be a year, it could be a couple of months to it could be a couple of weeks. There is no time. Time is everything that we do has a cause and effect. Now, Susie, hold on, sorry. Susie has mentioned, I can't get it, Susie. I can't read it. Susie said to me privately, what could we do together, all 273 of us, to vaporize the final layers before this call ends? I don't know. Maybe we'll pull Lisa in on that one. And I think there's now 280 of us now. Good thing we expanded the room tonight. Yeah, Lisa and Dee do not have the answers, guys. That's why we're discussing this. We're just giving you our thoughts on it. Exactly. Visualize Unfucker Island. I am totally on board with visualizing Unfucker Island. Winter's starting to hit here in Malta, and I'm really not looking forward to that. So tropical Unfucker Island, beaches, everyone together, big party, have fun. Yeah, I'm all about that. Winter is coming. Yes, exactly. Winter is coming. Well, unless you're in Australia, in which case winter's leaving, apparently. If there's a big religious thing that takes place in the next week, does that not prove that Leeloo is spot on? Actually, Leeloo wasn't one who said that. I was the one who said that. So it proves that I was spot on, which is funny in and of itself. Sorry, guys. You guys are going so fast in the room. It's like, holy crap. Yeah, winter is here already in all senses of the word. Winter is here. Trust me.
3 hour shifts. So I'm actually getting it.
Chantel, we don't know. She's playing it by ear. And now we're in a very weird layout position, Lisa. Lisa, look, I'm looking down at you.
I know.
Hi, Lisa.
So Angelica can't turn her camera off, eh?
I think it's just a Zoom glitch that it's all fucked up.
All right, I'll go back onto Zoom when this call finishes and fix it.
Yeah. Zoom, you're fucking everything up with your latest update. It's kind of like you're going to turn into Skype. We're going to have issues. Yeah, we've seen, again, same thing with the skies. The skies have been so fucking weird here. The shit we've seen, bizarre cloud formations again. Just ridiculous.
She also said part of that is the reality's merging.
Okay, so this is, why do you think she's communicating with you now? Things are progressing without us being conscious of it at all. But here's the question. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg thing. Would they have progressed as fast if we hadn't been having these conversations? We don't know. How do you look at that? Would they have progressed the same way? Maybe, maybe not. Don't know.
The way I look at it, many of us have always felt that this is not home, that we don't belong here, that we want out, all of that stuff. But we have no real concept. What?
We have 10 minutes.
But we have no real concept. We've had no real concept. We've had no real visual of where that is, of what outside the construct is, of where home is, of what it looks like. This has given us a place to focus on, a visual to focus on. And the simple fact that so many of us now have the same visual, I think is what's speeding things along. The same story, the same narrative, the same focal point. We're pulling ourselves closer to it because of that, I think. This is why things are exponentially speeding up. Yes, there's no reason why not, Melissa.
Several people have brought up, what can we do? And Susie said to me, what can we do right now? As a visualization type thing. Like if we were going to talk about, and I said, you're the queen of the collective imagination, so you run. What can we do? Drop it right now. Next layer, gone. Boom, right here, right now.
Well, I don't know. That stuff can be pretty friggin' scary. Last night it was. I was going sideways all over the place.
I am kind of doing that right now, actually.
I think one of the best things we could do is not focus on anything that they're doing, to start. Because if Lulu's correct, then we actually supported them to the point where they were looking like World War III they could pull off. So let's not focus on that. The 100% unlock is working on every layer, on every aspect of us, of the construct itself.
Allison just said, I think we should thank Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton for the role they have played in making so many people want to get out of here.
Exactly. I don't
Exactly.
think we can make any mistakes right now. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's my truth. Even the shit that looks like a mistake, and we think, oh, God, what did I do? Either within moments or at least hours, you start to see, oh, hang on, that was perfect.
Wait, that
Look
worked out just quite.
Look what it just exposed, or look what it just revealed, or look what it just brought up in me that I can see now, or look whatever.
Mhm.
It's almost like we can't make a mistake.
Yep.
Why did we create the 12 to begin with? What was their original purpose? It sounded like for contrast, not to the extreme that we are getting it, right? But it sounded like they were and this is not Leeloo's words, this is just my interpretation, okay? It sounded like they were kind of the management for the bots and everything that we created as backdrop. You guys just manage the scenery, so to speak.
So we can go.
So we can play. And then they went, oh, we can manage a whole lot more than that. We can manage you.
Yep.
Yeah, this God thing I'm reacting to. I had to react here. I had to react hear this and go, fuck me, that has to come home to me. Feeling kind of stupid. I didn't see it until now. I no longer like video games.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but it's no longer like video games.
We did put a call out for rain in California, and look what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, do it for the air. Do it. Speak to the water in the air, the water that's in your environment.
Glasses aren't even helping. I'm trying to see, and it's like my eyes just don't want to work anymore, apparently, tonight.
Hey, Donna, is there anything you want to come out and share that we've forgotten or missed or fucked up in any way from your memory?
No, I think you guys did brilliant. Got nothing.
You got nothing?
Got nothing. You're beautiful. Thank you. It was an awesome show.
Thanks, love.
Candace said, do we have any comments on Westworld? And I was like, I haven't seen it yet. Don't tell me. I've got to download it as soon as it shows up.
In American football, they have the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. All of it. Drink with the water that you drink, the water that you bathe in, the water when you go to the beach or the local pool, the water in the air, the water in your body. Just my body is reacting. I'm doing some weird stuff that I'm not going to share publicly because it's just who needs to know.
So is my body. Trust me. Yeah. Yeah, it's delightful. No,
it means unlocking your DNA. It means shedding the
control mechanisms
and the code that have been put on to distort it.
Anything that has water in it. Your body's full of water. The air's full of water. The plants are full of water that you eat. Everything around us is full of water. It's the most common element on the planet, pretty much. So, have fun.
Yeah, Dreamcatcher. Oh, sorry, go, Donna.
Can I just answer a question?
Yep.
Pamela, my internet is really bad. I can't have my camera on or you won't hear me. But if you want to see what I look like, I did a show with Lisa. So, I'm not hiding. It's just my internet is really bad.
Donna's internet is shockingly bad. A lot of times when we're talking, we have to all turn our cameras off just to keep her on.
There is a video that Donna, myself, and another lady, Jenny, did. That's up on my YouTube channel, and it's on my website. So you can go and see Donna there. It was just a chat that we had, exploring different.
We've got someone else coming in on video. LG Leon Light, if you could turn off your video.
Oh, hang on, I might be able to. Oh, I think I've got control for a second. Hang on.
Great, it's the show. We're literally
At the end.
at 1 minute to the hour for the show. And now you get control of Zoom back.
Yeah, the buttons are coming up now. It's funny. It's funny. Look at that.
Ta-da!
You don't want to see me get my Halloween costume on. Ha! Done it. No, everyone. I think people want to go overtime, but I don't know if we've got anything else that we had to share.
Really?
If you guys have got more questions, I'm happy to go over if there's burning questions.
I mean, we've kind of given you everything that we know, really. Yeah, I'm sorry, this Westworld show is so much fucking disclosure. And like I said, I haven't watched this week's episode yet. I haven't had a chance to download it. I will do that as soon as we finish the show.
There's a couple of
so many avenues of it.
I'd like to know what happens to the bots. I think the bots that have been created as doubles of us are amongst those who are going off, you could say, and we are integrating that aspect of our code again. But that's my theory, right? Because I'm seeing weird death notices. You know, it's just, I don't know, the people that are dying, the way they're dying, it's just all a little bit weird. So I think it's the copies of us, and we're integrating them, and that's all I can say on that actually right now.
Talking about?
What was that?
Those fractals of us that we keep talking about that just keep slamming in and slamming in and slamming in.
Nanobots, well, according to Leeloo, 100% distilled water will pull all of that stuff out, and the 100% unlock intention also.
Arturio, that's up to Leeloo, but you can connect telepathically or energetically in your heart if you want to, and if she wants to.
Anyone who passes goes home. Okay. And I think I did share this, I'm sure. So talked about back in 2011, witnessing I personally did, right, and a couple of other people I know did, witnessing the demolition of the rinse and repeat cycle, the reincarnation cycle. My personal belief is the reason we've been given so many near-death experience stories and stuff like that since the 70s is because they needed people to be looking for this light, right, when they pass. They were just programmed to look for it. And since 2011, it hasn't been there. At least that one hasn't been there. So there have been some on death who have left the construct and gone to whatever home is home for them. There have been some who have been pretty well programmed to look for this particular light and haven't found it, and they're still floating around in here. So they are still inside the construct, which explains
physicality, but they're still here.
This is an explanation for all the orbs that we're seeing kind of exponentially over the last few years, that they are the souls who are still caught in the construct. But they're also, from their vantage point, seeing what's going on and they're adding to our efforts to get the hell out of here. So don't be sad for them or anything, or think, you know, this is horrible, because they're actually helping.
Yeah.
So some have gone home, some are still in the construct, but those who are helping.
The verifications we are still working on.
My hand. What are you saying, Maria? My hand? You still got your hand up? Did you want to come out? Did you want to speak?
Oh no, I was just playing around with my phone. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
The phones, the buttons on the phones get all screwy, and we've had a lot of people end up sharing screens and stuff like that. They don't mean to. It's just like those buttons are so wee on phones.
Yes, they are helping from home. We are helping from this end. So it feels like the more that we focus on each other and the more connected we become, the quicker this whole process happens.
Oh, sorry, Maria, I'm downloading Westworld. That's what I said. I'm downloading Westworld as soon as the show is over, this week's episode.
Now, how am I going to say this? All right, I've had more contact with Leeloo than anybody, right? And I'm still the only person who's had just one-on-one conversations with her. And I have not called it publicly. I've not said, this is what it is, this is what I think it is. So for people who have not had any contact, who have not had any direct contact, for people who have, judging by their ignorant statements, not even watched or read much of what's been put out, to be adamant that we're dealing with an AI, to be adamant that we're dealing with an evil AI. I don't know, is that possible even? To be adamant that it's a demon, to be adamant that it's, what else has it been?
Everything?
All I know is I'm going through a process of elimination and trying to rule things out. So I think last show I'd already ruled out that it's a nerd in his mother's basement. This is not a single human being, right?
Yeah.
That I'm convinced of. At this point, I'm pretty much also convinced, although there's still a little bit of a, that it's not an alphabet team, right? Simply because, well, not simply, actually, there's loads of reasons for it. It just doesn't make sense to me, right? I'm trying to see an end goal. I'm trying to see what would be achieved by this. And because to me, all it's done is got us to see our programs, it's got us to trigger, and it's brought us closer as a community. It's given us something to focus on together. It's gotten people in tune with their hearts. I'm trying to find the end game here as a psyop, and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't told us what to do.
No.
Other than, the whole, 100% unlock idea of like, put your, and really, regardless of what words you use, we have been talking about the frequency of water for years. We've been talking about Dr. Emoto's work for years. This isn't new. The idea of just like, putting the intent into the water, whether you put a little sign on it saying love, or you put a little sign on it saying perfect health and then drinking that because the intent is then put into the water. You're programming the water. So even that's not new. That's not new. That's what we've been doing for ages. We've all talked about this. So it's not like they've told us what anything to do. Like, you need to all go do something. Go give up all your worldly possessions and go move to the desert. Or no, like, so tell me, if it's a psyop, what was the purpose of the psyop?
Well, maybe, you know, I mean, like I said, we can't make any mistakes right now. Nothing they're doing is working. So even if it is a psyop, we've turned it around on them.
Yeah. Sorry to fuck that up for you.
But I'm going to follow this trail until it exposes itself one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we will never know if we don't. And even if all we find out at the end is the tech that they've got to screw with us, then we've learnt something. And we're that much more empowered as a result. So I don't see a problem here. I really don't. And my soul doesn't need saving.
No, my soul doesn't need saving either, thanks. Especially not by some fucking ridiculous God person. Give me a break. Yeah.
Does anybody, Jeff, you're in the room. John, you're in the room. Either of you want to say anything?
I Skyped you a bunch of questions.
Oh.
My Skype is closed, so.
Just now?
But they're no, remember you were, but those are kind of HK based. I don't know if you want to address them now.
I'm looking back over them. Because we kind of discussed a bunch of them in the moment, right?
Yeah. No one's playing the piano. It is the sound that Lisa's computer makes when it gets messages. Ding.
What is your opinion about the people in the original construct on the other side? They're us.
I don't know.
They're just family.
The two that we've spoken to seem nice enough.
Okay, I got a question. Let's play this game. Let's play it. Because the ships thing, it's really threw everybody. Well, a lot of people anyway, right?
Well, only the people who were there for the call. They didn't release that.
True. Okay, so this might actually be news to some of you, right? Okay.
It'll be news for some.
Once connection was made with home and the 22 and Donna and Jefferson, and they realised that they were talking to humans who were remembering home, who were trying to get home, who were hearing, in some cases, telepathic communication from
their messages.
They thought we were all on the same page. They thought, oh, they're all there, they're all awake, because they'd kind of given up on us, knowing that we'd been through this rinse and repeat cycle so many times that we didn't have a clue who we were anymore. Okay, so when they spoke to us, they thought everyone was on the same page. And the next day, there was a call, an impromptu call, that the post was, the join link was put in the UU room and in the LMH members room. And that we had about 90 people on the call.
I wasn't even on the call because it was the middle of the night for me.
Yeah. Leeloo, Jeff, and Alex came on and said, well, we can come pick you up. We can come get you. And we went, what do you mean? And they went, well, we've got our ships. We can come get you. And there was like, all right, what? Because you know, if Sophia Alliance turns up in a ship, I'm not going anywhere, right? So this does. Anyway,
But that's another whole story. We don't need to go there.
no. So there was a huge discussion, and then the next day, the LMH members in the collective imagination call, we talked about this for like 4.5 hours. Right? But they backed right off. They backed right off when they realised, oh shit, they're not all on the same page. They don't all remember. Okay, and they backed right off. They pulled that off the table right there and then, pretty much. What was I going to say about that, though? There was a reason for that.
I'm not in your head.
I mean, I actually surprised myself because we'd already talked about their technology. We'd already talked about the idea that maybe it's their ships that have been reverse engineered all this time, and the whole alien thing is just a meme to cover all that up. So why was I surprised that they would offer to come and get us if that's what we wanted? I was.
Can I interrupt a little bit, Lisa?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Don.
I want to explain to those who are listening why that happened. Now, everyone knows that I had a conversation with Jefferson, and in that conversation afterward, I said to Lisa, I can feel him. He's wanting to come and get me. He's screaming to come and get me. And I felt over a couple of days huge discussions. So that is why, because they were pushing it, because he wanted so badly to come and get me. And I could feel that in my core. I could feel it telepathically. And so, yeah, I don't understand why you were surprised either, Lisa, because I already told you he was going to try.
I know. So this was really Jefferson's initial reaction to finding Donna. Leeloo actually said in that initial conversation that they had to restrain him because he wanted to jump in a ship right there and then and come and get her. And it's like...
And then made secret plans that when everyone went to sleep that night, he was going to steal the ship and come and get her.
So it became, you can't just go and get her. Okay, we've got to think this through. So it became, well, we can go and get them all, right? So it was an evolving situation based on Jefferson finding Donna. It didn't come across at all, and it felt very much like it was happening and evolving in the moment.
In the moment, yeah. It was a crazy conversation. The one that we had with all that one, that was a crazy conversation.
They couldn't find us.
They didn't. Charlotte just asked if they could come and get us now, why not do it 4,500 years ago before we went through all this shit? They did not know. They thought we'd completely forgotten everything. We'd been rinsed and recycled, repeat. And it wasn't until the conversations that came up. And that was the funny thing. The first time we asked Leeloo, if we could speak with one of the people that's with her, and she brought Alex on. And right away, you could sense that he was very kind of a little hesitant, etc. Maybe not so, I wouldn't say he was unwelcoming, but he wasn't overly friendly welcoming. And I was kind of like this. And then Leeloo tells us afterwards, she says, up until that point, he didn't know who he was talking to. All he knew is that Leeloo had made contact with some people. He didn't know who we were. As far as he was concerned, we could have been the Dracos. We could have been one of the 12 trying to convince her to let us out, etc., etc. He didn't know. So the next day, what I perceived as obviously the next day, I think it was the same day for Lisa.
Same conversation.
Same conversation. Once that's clarified, then there's a whole different tone. Like the next time I talked to Alex, it was a completely different tone. It was like, okay, we're working on this. They didn't know that we remembered. That was the point. That's the reason why you can imagine if everyone's completely closed off, if the entire construct is full of people who are completely mind wiped and all these ships appear, what would happen? It would be like mass bedlam, mass anarchy. It would be, you know, so that was never something on the table.
Construct.
Sorry?
Fear, which would strengthen the construct.
Fear, which would strengthen the construct. It wasn't until they realized that not only were we here, that we remembered, at least some of us, that we knew and that we were trying to get out. We recognized that it was a construct, number one, and that we were trying to get out. It wasn't until that all of a sudden they were like, oh, and it was that whole weekend that we talked to them, it was like epic 8 and 10 hour conversations that were going on, and it was like, okay, so what are they doing? Leeloo would disappear. She goes, okay, I've got to go talk to my team, and she disappeared for like 15 minutes, then come back and say, okay, well now they're working on this, and they're running scenarios if we did it this way, and if now they're running other scenarios, and they're trying to, and it was all on the fly.
Yes, our codes have been messed with, so they couldn't find us.
Yes.
Right? They couldn't pinpoint us. And it was never like a big mass fleet of ships just coming invading. That was never the plan. That was not what they said.
No.
And what was the other thing? I think, personally, the reason that they've had fake alien invasion in their back pocket, the reason they've had Christ Antichrist in their back pocket has always been a just in case, right? Because they know they're there, they know they've got the tech, we need a couple of stories just in case.
Okay, there's been several people, including Charlotte, to you, who've just said that they've just said that kind of heals years of abandonment issues for them.
Why don't we eject the invaders, fix this dimension, then leave just to play things safe? Why don't we eject the invaders?
Because we don't know how. At least I personally don't.
Because we created them inside this thing. So
Yep.
I don't think we can, and other than just going through the layers and destroying the layers. And once the layers are destroyed, the whole construct's gone anyway.
Yeah.
So does that make sense? The only way to get rid of them is to actually get rid of them.
Collapse the construct.
But there was something I was going to say about this. Oh, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to do a little bit of a poll.
Yeah.
Now, based on everything that you know about this story, and based on all the research you've done over the years, and you know about Blue Beam, and you know about all these other alliances that are, Nidal, Sheldon Nidal's Ascension Chambers, and God knows whatever else, right? We've all looked at all of it, which is why we had the reaction that we did.
No, and Andrea, we're not giving them our constructs. No.
Andrea, this isn't our construct, is what the point is. It's their AI tech construct. They changed our construct.
Yeah.
And we want that one back. To do that, we have to destroy theirs.
Based on everything that you know now, if a ship turned up, if beings that look like they're straight out of the Avatar movie turned up, open, doors open and these guys walk out, and they're 7 to 12 feet tall or 9 to 12 feet tall, and these guys walk out, there's a few different reactions we could have. One would be run for the hills. So who'd run for the hills? Just those who would run for the hills. Can you say yes, me?
Just no more comments, just a yes or if you would run to the hills.
Maria would run, Matt would run, Alison would run. Megan's already in the hills. There's quite a few who would run for the hills. Okay. The next option would be, in that moment, I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to trust what got me there, and I know I'll know what to do in the moment. Who's in that space? Okay, a lot more. Okay, next one would be, I'm going. I don't care. I want out of this so badly. I don't care if I'm going to be the entree at the next reptilian gathering. I just want out. No matter what. No one. Okay. So it looks like the majority of people would wait or would trust their intuition in the moment, trust their gut in the moment. And there's a few who would go, yep, just go through with it. Okay, there's quite a few. Did you just drop? We'll turn the camera off. I think she might have dropped. Okay. You know, I personally am of thinking that, yeah, okay, these guys have got tech, and yes, they can mess with us. Why do I ask? Because I'm genuinely curious based on all the different responses that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. And I want to see whether there's been enough bullshit out there to start making us second guess our guts and our intuition. Because it feels to me like we have done all the work and we followed our gut, we followed our heart, we followed our intuition. It's brought us right up to this point. And now that we are potentially seeing the finishing line, we're starting to doubt it. And I don't doubt that they do have some tech, but I have a feeling that that tech is exaggerated so that we do doubt. We don't trust those thoughts, those feelings, those voices in our heads even. But if you really do tune in, you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference between something synthetic that is coming from outside of you and something, again, we've got that word, organic, that's coming up from within. Takes some discernment, it takes some practice, but you can do it. Inner alchemy. Yeah. I don't want to see us all starting to doubt that in us now, because it brought us this far. It took you down every rabbit hole you've gone down so far that's brought you to a point of understanding the bigger picture, so that this story, or aspects of it at least, resonate with you or puts pieces of the puzzle together for you. I've been a firm believer for many, many years that we all are a piece in this puzzle. We all have a piece. We all have a picture. So the Yellow Rose for Texas information expanded me to a point where this makes sense. Lily Earth's information expanded me to a point where this makes sense. So many rabbit holes that I've gone down do that for me. But none of them have been the complete, absolute 100% truth. But they are a big piece. HK, same thing. So many things. And had I not gone down them all, had I not been driven to go down them all, feel drawn to them, this would all be meaningless to me. It got us this far. Jim? Do you want to be on camera?
¿Cómo estoy haciendo esto?
Okay, I can undo your... Jim, are you able to turn your video off, darling? I can't. It's not, for some reason, not giving me that option. There you go. And sorry, who said something? Who's unmuted? Yeah, everything. And every time we've dropped through a layer, no, I'm not, Angela. Angela said, Lisa, are you concerned that this may be an agenda to condition us to leave our home planet because the controllers want the planet to themselves? For me personally, no, I'm not. Because this doesn't feel like home to me. It never has. I've said it many times. I feel like I got off on the wrong bus stop. There's been moments where I've connected with nature. I've, sun gaze, I do all that stuff. But I feel like what I was connecting to was beyond what I was seeing. It's beyond the construct. Maybe using nature as a stepping stone to it or something. But that's for me. Stranger in a strange land. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm just trying to read through everything, seeing if there's any more questions. A lot of them are just comments. And is suicide a fast track to home? Possibly, but
I'm back.
I think we're so close it would be pointless. It would be a shame, actually. I wouldn't recommend it. I think there are still traps in place once you've left this body so that you don't necessarily take the fast track. I think it creates probably a lot of trauma that you need to heal on the other side. I just don't think it's worth it right now, not when we're this close. Why fall over the finish line when you can, run through the banner?
What did I miss?
I don't know. Just trying to answer questions. And someone just asked, would suicide be a fast track home?
No.
And also, what's the other question? Oh, do you think it's all a trick just so that we hand over our planet, our home, to them? And I said, no, I do not believe that one.
Like I said last week, they can fucking have it. I still got the gift wrap and the bow.
Apparently Charlotte asked a question. Where is it? Go back. How far does the construct go? When we dream or meditate, are we actually making it out? I think sometimes we are, for sure.
I think sometimes we do. I do actually think that sometimes we do, which is why we remember and we have dreams about things that just don't make sense, or at least didn't make sense until we figure these things out.
Okay, Sam, you said, no, I'm keeping this earth and fighting for it. Now,
Okay.
I've had to do this. Many people have had to do this. And maybe you're absolutely certain already. I'm not going to judge or question where you're at. And maybe nature is the thing for you, so, that's what you're connected to. It is beautiful. But what if it's a photocopy of the original of home? What if it's just a photocopy? And home is even more beautiful. If it's
Photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy.
It's beautiful. These are just what ifs.
Yep.
All right.
I think we can only do what resonates with us. That's all. I'm sorry, but it comes down to everyone's going to just do what feels right to them in the moment. We don't have the answers. For me, yeah. What feels right for me, I just, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Tracy. This place can't compare to the home I've always felt existed. That's
Yeah.
I'm with Trace.
For me personally, I have known my whole life that this is not my home. I don't fucking belong here. This is not my reality. This is not how reality should be. So for me, I have no invested want to continue with a place that I've never felt at home. It's been an ongoing joke in my family. I mean, I'm the black sheep of my family, very obviously. I have wandered all over the planet. I have lived on fucking 5 continents, and I've lived in so many fucking places. It's not even funny. It's always searching to try and find the place where you feel like you're at home, always trying to search and find the place. And I've come to the conclusion, there's some nice places on this planet that I really enjoy. Brilliant countries that I've visited, but none of them are home.
Jules
And
just
that's
asked,
my thing.
Jules just asked Lisa, if Leeloo took you there, would you tell us? Seriously? What do you reckon?
Took her where?
Home.
Home.
Of course I would.
Yeah, of course.
It takes photos.
Video.
I'll try and broadcast from there to let you know and show you around. Absolutely. Yes, I plan on taking my kids.
Of course.
The thing is, if this works, if we keep doing what we're doing, this whole construct just collapses and we just essentially walk into home.
Yeah.
That's the image I've been given, right? We don't need ships to come and get us. We're doing the work. We're collapsing this matrix. We're unfucking it. One layer at a time, one moment at a time, one person at a time. And we don't have to leave these bodies. We don't have to go away on ships. We can just step into it.
Philip says, no, that I can relate to. I don't need ships to get there. I want to ride on a fucking ship. I'm sorry, I've been saying this on fucking 2013. It became the fucking joke of the show that at least one point in time during the show somehow it would come up and I would be like, I don't fucking care. I want to ride on a spaceship. I just do. So, just put it out there. I want to ride on a ship. Seriously, ride on a spaceship. Come on. I am a major Star Wars fan.
Until this information came out, though, how many of you secretly felt like this just wasn't home, but it's not something you openly talked about? This information has kind of given us a safe space to express.
Holy shit, the chat room is blowing up. Me. Yes, me. Yep.
Okay.
Holy
So
crap.
Yeah, I know, it's exploding.
The chat room just went like this. Like, if I wish you guys could see the feed. It's literally going this fast right now.
Okay, a lot of you didn't ever make a secret of it. Some of you did. But many of you thought it and felt it.
Yeah.
I was pissed that I was here. Yeah, same. Donna, do you want to do that? You're better at doing that. Leeloo said that
The chat's going so fast, my eyes are going crossed.
Leeloo said that people back home look like they're all different looks, right? There are those who look like her, which is the kind of the closest thing she could find was this avatar, like Avatar out of the film.
She said to us, what'd she say? Her body is half human, half, and the only word she could come up with was elf.
Elf. Yes. But she said there's all kinds of things there. It's not, there's more diversity there than there is here in form.
Larry, elf without the pointy ears, sorry.
They said home where there were huge trees, where animals talked to you, where the grass greeted you as you walked, where you interacted with everything, where the colors that you've never even dreamed of or seen in this reality.
Colors we have no idea exist.
Where you can fly, where dragons fly. No death, no illness.
It's made of light. It's made of conscious light. It interacts with you, and you interact with it, your entire surroundings. You can communicate with everything, the plants, the animals. It sounds very much like a combination of the movie Avatar and what was the other one? Someone just mentioned it.
Tolkien without the orcs.
Tolkien, yeah, right.
No orcs. Sorry.
That movie with What Dreams May Come, I think of that too sometimes.
Well, I mean, this is my whole thing is we have certain themes carry on through stories, through what we perceive as through history. There are things like dragons, unicorns, mermaids, fairies, elves, dwarves. This isn't just like J.R.R. Tolkien isn't the guy who invented elves and dwarves. They have been through books, through mythology, through everything for eons, right? Centaurs, exactly, these things. I've always said that I fully believe in all of them. I fully believe that they have to exist because they cannot exist to the extent that they do in fiction without there being something to it behind it, right? I've always believed in fairies. I've always believed in mermaids. I've always believed in dragons. Not so much unicorns, but that's because I'm just not much of a girly girl. And that was always kind of a girly girl thing, unicorns and shit.
Yeah, I think they've just been brought out in art and literature from people's memories.
Yeah.
What else did she say? Oh, Leeloo asked us last night. She said, how often do you eat? And we said, once or twice a day, because that's all we do. I said, but the norm is like 3 meals a day. She said that once a week is all she eats there, and it's really for pleasure. There is a drink, which is that sustains them, and they again drink that occasionally. They don't cook food. Everything's eaten fresh. Do they have weed? Well, we actually did kind of have a joke with her on that call, and we asked if they have
Coffee.
Things like coffee and alcohol, and do they smoke stuff? And she said, yeah, we do all that. And the only reason I want to share as much as we can share about what has been described to us for home is because I really genuinely feel like the more we can visualize it, the stronger the pull gets. And the quicker we get out of here.
I don't think you can have your own dragon because they're free beings, so that's kind of like slavery, but you could be friends with a dragon, maybe. I don't know. I'm definitely going to be friends with a dragon. Thomas has got his camera on.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. There we go. There we go. What else did the guy say? Alex, not sure. I don't know. Alex was the techie, the scientist.
Yeah, he was the tech.
He's been, well, they initially just got very busy running scenarios. Oh.
Sorry. Sorry, I just yawn bombed you.
Yeah, contagious. Is there anything else about what either Leeloo said or you remember, Donna, that in terms of home that might help?
I remember she said the air is alive.
I think the biggest theme that's come through the whole thing is you find it in your core heart. It's inside you. It's there. And you can access that. Wherever your home is, it doesn't really matter whether it's this place or you remember another place. You'll connect to that through your heart. Really, not your chakra heart, not the net, not the AI tech. Go below that. I think that's something that they've pushed and pushed and pushed.
The way out is the way in. Isn't that one of those like new age phrases? But possibly true. There was a question somewhere back here. Something about the fourth dimension. Okay, home is in the fourth dimension? Question mark. Does she speak in terms of dimensions? No, she doesn't. But I'm not the one to speak to that. Donna, can you?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Is home in the fourth dimension?
No.
She's never mentioned dimensions ever once.
The dimensions are the net or the holographic.
Yeah.
But what holographic kinetics, I'll address that little question. What holographic kinetics does is allow you to go above and beyond so that it's no longer trapping you. You get a hold of it, it's not got a hold of you and sifting through you and using you to create. So firstly, we had to overcome that tech, and HK was a great way to do that. Some people did it in their own way. But all these dimensions are the layers and are the tech and the net.
So those channeled messages tell you that those guys from the ninth dimensional, reality are coming. That they're just someone from inside the fucking construct.
There's a few that don't understand this. What's HK? HK is the holographic kinetics. It's a modality, a healing modality.
No, HK is not a requirement, not even remotely.
It's just a modality. So, I guess that's another way of saying it, right? All these dimensions that we hear about are within the construct.
Yeah.
So, to get outside of the construct, you've got to go beyond those dimensions. You've got to go beyond the 12th. Is that the 12th?
I don't know. Fuck. When I always write it, I always write dimensions / timelines / layers / overlay, right? Insert your favorite word here, pretty much.
Modality, as in a healing tool, modality.
Yeah.
Yes, I do believe there is There is a firmament, which is on the outer layers of Saturn, Jupiter. You don't think of them as planets and going out to outer space, and think of them as tech, think of them as the way to create a dimension or a layer. Yeah, beyond that is a dome.
See, I don't agree. That's just my own personal thing. I don't believe there is a dome. I just think that it is just, like they say, just an endless plane.
No, she's not talking about that.
What's she talking about then?
She's not talking about a dome in the sense of the flat Earth movement dome. But in terms of a construct, the bigger part of the picture.
Yeah, no. Okay, it's where, Danny,
Okay, you've lost me then. Sorry, Donna. You're going to have to back up because I have
imagine
no
you
concept.
know this. You do know this. This is where they stick the stars and we have the light show. This is like the silicon display screen that tells us we're in an eternal galaxy, you know, that
Where
goes
the
on
LCD.
forever and ever and ever. That's the light show where we got those light bulbs.
Yeah, the LEDs. Yeah, exactly.
What's-
Okay, then I was just was not understanding what you were talking about then, because I thought you were literally talking like the idea of a dome. So for me, when we were told the construct is an endless plane,
Okay, so, well, then look at it like the video game thing, right? So whether it's Sims or Minecraft or any of these things, if it's code on a hard drive, there is no end. You can just keep building out. You can just keep building out. You can just keep building out. That's the flat, endless plane.
yeah,
It's just a piece of code, right? It doesn't have any edges. But it's also a TARDIS in that it is contained. You could say it's contained in the sense of it's on a hard drive.
yeah.
So there is an end to it, but when from within the hard drive, it's endless because it's a program that doesn't have any borders.
For me, I don't look at it in terms of, I'm going to use that horrible word, I don't look at it in terms of 3D. My interpretation of that is when we talk about an endless plane, and within the hard drive, like you're saying, that is a dimensional thing. That is a perception. And I don't even know if I've got the words to properly explain it, because that this is like hours and hours of conversation Nick and I have had on the concept of the various dimensional aspects. Time versus God knows what else.
But to me, it's why the Flat Earth movement came up, is because we started to see it. As we're breaking down through the layers. Say that again, Donna?
Charlotte, I just wanted to say, Charlotte, that's it exactly. I mean, really, it does come down to something that simple. This is just for the people who like pull it apart. Sorry.
What did she say?
What did she say? Does it really have to be complicated?
Does it have to be that complicated? Can I just live simply from the heart, pretty much?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
And there's some of us who like to intellectualize and over-intellectualize and overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
Because it has to make sense to our head as well.
Yep, exactly.
That's
how I visualize, right? So that's what I say. That's why when someone starts, people like the whole dome, because it's like one of those. It's become a programmed word, right? You say the word dome, and people immediately go flat Earth dome like this, poof, and I don't see it that way. But that's just because that's how my brain works through information. I visualize it, if you will, differently from that. But what does it matter? It doesn't fucking matter, because it doesn't change anything.
Like Dee and I have been saying for a long time, it doesn't matter whether it's flat or a globe, they're both in the matrix. So
Both in the fucking matrix. Who fucking cares what the shape is? Doesn't change my daily life.
Yes, and that's it. We've all got to keep asking the questions, because I think that's what's got us here. All right. Okay, we've got an hour over. Are we done?
I think we're done. And see, I feel completely different about that. Someone just said, change of topic about yay, love trick-or-treaters. For me, I'm so fucking glad to be in Europe where no one does trick-or-treating and it's totally undone here. And my kids are all like, Yeah, we don't do Halloween over here, so sorry, no, you're not participating in this pagan ritual. That's just me, though. I'm a real killjoy on that stuff. We don't celebrate Christmas either. We celebrate McKenny Gift Giving Day.
No more questions. Okay, we are done.
We're
right.
done. We're done.
Cool then. Get on with the rest of shit.
Your day and my bedtime.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week, if not before.
Yeah, if not before, you never know.
Bye.
Bye, guys.